Hey everybody, I have a new partner for today. My buddy decided to not come today. I don't know. I didn't hurt her, honestly. It wasn't me.
Unfortunate circumstance means you get me.
I do. I get both you and Tom today, so that's going to be really cool. So we're just going to quickly kind of cover our announcements, and then we're going to go harass Tom. All right, so we have a couple of good party events coming up.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes, because, we like to party. Yes. So we've been talking a lot about the Husqvarna event at the end of this month. If you have not registered, you do need to make sure you get on the computer and book your spot.
If you want to attend the classes, that is.
Yes, if you want to.
If you just want to come in and shop and see what the deals are, because there will be good deals that day. You don't have time for a full class, then you can still come in and scope it out and see what it is. There's still going to be the educator here and the sales rep here, and so if you've got some questions you just need answered, you can come in for that too.
Okay.
They're going to have even the Singer Memento Cutter, I believe, is coming, so they can see that.
So yeah,
so there'll be other things happening other than the classes. But if you want the classes, you do need to try to book, because if there's no seats left, I guess you can stand and watch. But
it's gonna be a long stand.
Yes.
Okay. So we have that, and then we have a Baby Lock event coming up in November.
Yeah, Baby Lock is just released their new cover stitch machine. So they'll be showing that, and then they're releasing a brand new embroidery machine, and it should be here by then as well. So we're super excited, and they're going to be showing all that and all the cool stuff that it does. So that should be fun.
Cool. Okay, and then we've got our classes. You know the list. Just a reminder, we've got our tree skirt, which is an embroidery project coming up. That's in 2 parts. The first one will be the embroidery one. It is on the wall back there. We've got Kimberbell Club on the 19th. Our beginner class, which the morning one is full, but we do have some spots in the afternoon. And that's the falling leaves one. So if you're new to quilting, you want some refreshers, you just want to take the class because it's a really beautiful,
it's really cute.
Yeah, it's a really nice fall quilt. Make sure you get signed up for those ones. And it's Rita.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She is an amazing teacher.
And this one's teaching applique. So the other thing too is if you've never done applique, it's another good class as well. Even if you've quilted before but never applique, that's part of this class as well.
So that one, and then let's see. The 25th, we have Learn to Use Your Singer. So if you have a Singer machine, this is a great one just to kind of learn how to do that one. So you do need to register.
You should have Learned to Use Your Sewing Machine. Isn't that one this week?
I might have missed that one.
I believe this week there's a Learn to Use Your Sewing Machine class. Because I thought
on the 18th? No, that's Singer.
No, there's another one. But anyway, check the website.
Oh, the 18th is sewing, and the 25th
that
is
makes more
there
sense.
we go.
That makes more sense. So yeah, Learn to Use Your Sewing Machine coming up. So that's any new machine or anything that you have had sitting and you don't know how to use and you want to get started in sewing, you can use that one. And then the Singer specific has its own class, just because there's so many people with brand new Singer machines.
Okay. The 26th, we have Plan a Panel, and that is with Sandy. Yes. Okay.
She has done some amazing new samples for that class too.
Oh, I know. We showed a couple last week, and we'll show some more. So what this is bring a panel. And so if you've got some panels, you have no idea, come in, and you'll leave with like 27 ideas. She's got so many different things, and she'll help you get some ideas in there and those juices flowing. And by the time you're done, you'll totally forget that it's a panel.
Well, you'll actually leave with an idea for your
panel. Yeah. At least one.
Drawn out. You'll actually draw it out. So she will help you do that. You'll have many other ideas, probably want to go home and sew a bunch of panels, but you will leave with an idea planned out for your panel. So they draw it out on graph paper.
Yeah, so it's a great class, and she's awesome at that kind of stuff. And then October 1st, we have Countdown to Christmas, which is an advent calendar with your embroidery machine and sewing, so it's a mix of both. But you do need to have an embroidery machine to do the blocks on top of that. So that sample is also up in the store. And the fourth is Stack-A-Whack. Stack-A-Whack.
Yes.
Yes.
I know we've had a whole bunch of people anticipating this class, so I think there's only like 2 spots left. In that
Possibly,
one.
yeah. I know that was
Yeah.
looking pretty close to being full when
Yeah.
I took down the information. So yeah, so those are our announcements. I'm just going to put this to the side for the moment, and yeah,
All right.
I think we're going to go
Going.
see if we can go grab a hold of Tom. But on our way there, we're going to check out the fabric because I can't stand next to the fabric and not look, because that's what ends up happening. All right. Oh, and just we mentioned that the Baby Lock has the new cover stitch. It is in the store now, so if you are interested in the cover stitch, definitely come in. But if you want to get a test and see how it sews, do book an appointment with us, because everyone's still learning on it, and so we want to make sure that we have someone here that knows how to do it. All right, so hey, if you haven't had a chance, you've got to come and check out all our new Christmas stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna go see if we can take and find Tom and Annette. So I have to go through all the fabric because it's just, I'm looking for an idea for sunflowers. All right, let's see if we can find him. All right. I think we found him. All right, I'm just going to flip this around. All right, we're sneaking in the shop. Shh, don't tell anybody. Ooh, he even got me a chair. All right, Tom.
I'm pro chair.
He's pro chair. He just doesn't want me falling over.
Not pro electric chair, just pro chair. So.
There are days I'm like... All right, Tom, so what are you going to share with us today?
Okay, I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to talk about used machines, purchasing used machines, and giving you some tips and tricks to look for when purchasing a used machine. There's nothing wrong with buying a used machine. I'm not here to tell you don't do it, but we see people get taken advantage of all the time purchasing a used machine. And so if you're in the market for a used machine, or you have a friend who's in the market for a used machine, I thought I'd give you some tips and tricks, things to look for, and places to look to find good deals. So a lot of people are shopping on this place called Marketplace, which I think is a Facebook thing, but I'm not entirely sure because that's Carrie's department and Lori's department for social media stuff. I'm quite often reminded when I see the stuff comes in. I don't know for any fans of Big Bang Theory, there's an episode where Raj picks up an iPod that was thrown out of a 4-story window, and it's a bunch of pieces just dangling together, and Howard's like, what are you going to do with that? And he's like, I'm going to sell it on eBay as slightly used. And I think that is what a lot of people do on Marketplace. Something doesn't work for them anymore, they don't know where all the parts are, so they figure I'll put it at a Marketplace and see if I can get some few bucks out of it and go out for, a Starbucks coffee or whatever off of it. Okay, so first thing to take into account is when you're buying a used machine, you're going to have it serviced. There's no such thing as a used machine out there that is primed and prepped and ready to go. Most of the used machines are being sold either because they don't work anymore and they've already bought something else and now they're just getting rid of it and don't want to take it to the recycling depot themselves. They're going to try and get some cash out of it, or it's been sitting in storage for a long time, which means all the oil is dried up, caked up, and gotten hard and sticky and seized everything up. Okay, so if you take into account that you're going to have it serviced, service could be $80 to $200 depending on the average machine or whatever you're getting secondhand. You're adding that price to the cost of that machine. So that $20 machine or $50 machine or $100 machine is really a $200 machine or a $300 machine, right? When you add your service fee into it. Everybody with me so far?
But that's not including if it needs parts.
That's not including if it needs parts. Okay, so when you're looking at that, though, you have to take that into account. And that doesn't matter whether you're buying it from Marketplace or whether you're buying it from a thrift store. It has not been serviced, even from a thrift store. Okay, at least from a thrift store, usually if they have somebody there who knows how to sew, they will at least try to test sew it. But a lot of thrift stores, we get a lot of them here, where they don't have a foot control, they don't have a bobbin case. So obviously nobody's even sewn it out or tested to see it works before they turn around and sell it. Okay. Two most common things that are missing with a used sewing machine are, number one, the bobbin case, and number two, the foot control. Okay. Depending on the level of the sewing machine, again, that can be rather pricey. So bobbin case can range from $15 to like $110. Okay, so that $20 machine, if it's a Bernina 1200, needs a $110 bobbin case and $120 service. Even though you only paid $20 for it, you're now, it's a Bernina, it's a beautiful machine, older and well built, but you're now a couple $100 into it. So if you were just looking for a cheap option and thought you would get in with one of those machines, you're kind of thwarting yourself in doing that. Okay. The other thing is to make sure it has a working foot control, or that it has a foot control at all. People come in all the time having picked up a machine and they want me to tell them whether it'll sew or not, and I ask them where the foot control is, and they look at me with a blank look on their face. Didn't come with a foot control. Foot controls start at $50 and go to $250. So that magic faff that you got might have a $250 foot control to make it work. So not necessarily a great deal if you're buying used to save money. Now, if you're buying used because you want to restore the machine and you finally got that model that you're looking for, then that's part of the cost of doing business. My brother-in-law is restoring a Volkswagen Beetle, and he's been putting a lot of time and money into it. But he probably could have bought 3 new Volkswagen Beetles for the time and money that he's put into it. For him, it's a love thing, enjoying the restoration process and creating and restoring something back to it's not its former glory. It's kind of uniqued out in a few ways for him, but he's not doing it to save money and have a cheap car. He's doing it to have a showpiece. Okay, so when you get to the place where you're going to buy it, say it's on Marketplace or Craigslist or eBay or whatever, even if it's at a thrift store, okay, insist that you're able to thread the machine up and sew on it. Okay, that will ensure that you verify that there is a bobbin case for it. It will ensure that you verify that there is a foot control for it. Most importantly, it will ensure that the machine actually works. Okay, because even if it has a foot control, if the foot control is damaged, then you still have to replace it. If it has a foot control, but the motor doesn't work, then you're not only looking at service and all that, but now you're replacing an expensive part like a motor. Okay, and you want to know that beforehand, especially if you're on a limited budget and you're trying to save money and have it. And unfortunately, it's usually the people on a limited budget that are trying to save money that get taken advantage of the most. So, being here in the Lower Mainland, we have a lot of immigrants. They come to the country, they're brand new here. The cost of living here is very extreme compared to what they're used to. They don't have a lot of money. It took everything they had to get here. They pick up a used machine and it doesn't work. And then so they've wasted that $20 because it's now another $200 to make it work. So we're trying to avoid that for you. Okay, not that any of you guys are immigrants, but if you are, welcome to the country. If you're not, save an immigrant friend the pain of going through this. Okay. Next, make sure it has a spool pin. Okay. Spool pins are important. Okay. And now, if it's a newer machine and you're getting a good deal on it and it's got a broken spool pin, it's usually not a problem. They're fairly cheap. They're fairly easy to install. Good to go. If it's an older machine, quite often the spool pins are no longer available. So then you're looking at adding in some sort of external feature like a comb thread stand. okay, which is usually about $20 to sit off to the side to feed the thread into the machine. $20 doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're working to keep it in budget conscious area, and now you've had to add a $15 bobbin case and an $80 service and a $20 thread stand just so you can make it work, the $20 for that machine is starting to get pretty cost prohibitive. Okay. If you're getting something a little bit higher end, computerized, for example, okay, age can be important. Okay, who has a computer that's 20 years old and is still working? Nobody. Okay, the programs have outdated and everything like that. In our sewing machines, the programs aren't changing, okay, but the electronics in there wear out. Electricity is a very, very rough substance on things. It's not very forgiving, okay, and it puts a lot of stress and strain on those stepper motors and those circuit boards. So if it's 20 years old or 30 years old, remember when they were designed, the machines were only designed to work for 20 to 25 years. So it's already at its expected end of life, okay? But if it's just a computerized sewing machine, you can get away with that for a while. If it's something bigger and fancier, like an embroidery machine, you're now dealing with external inputs, trying to get things into it to function. 2 examples we've had recently. Somebody was donated, it was a school, and they were donated this beautiful embroidery machine. It was $8,000 when the customer had bought it, okay? And it was, she had passed on, the husband was giving it to the school as a donation. It required a dongle to function with the embroidery side of things. Dongle's a little plug that goes in that tells everything that it's okay and it's certified and it's working. He didn't provide them that piece, and it was 25, 28 years old. We don't use dongle technology anymore, and it was no longer even an option to get. So they then ended up with all of this external stuff, which was absolutely useless to them. It still worked as a sewing machine, but it would not work as an embroidery machine. Another one they bought on, it was either marketplace or an estate sale, and the technology, it required floppy disks to put the designs in the side. It had no internal memory on it. You can't even buy floppy disks anymore. So they paid, I think it was about $1,200 for this 30-year-old machine because it looked beautiful and it had the original bill of sale, and you know how much money had been spent on it. I think that one was about $6,000 at the time, back in the mid-90s, and that technology just doesn't exist anywhere anymore, right? So they'd spent the money and they couldn't make it do what they were hoping to make it do. Okay, the other thing with the higher end machines is check your hoop size. What kind of projects are you wanting to do? Okay, if you're wanting to do Kimberbell projects, take into account that most Kimberbell projects are designed with a 6-inch by 10-inch hoop in mind. Okay, some have 5x7 in mind, but most are 6x10. A lot of the older embroidery machines only have a 5x7 hoop or a 4x4 hoop or a 4x6 hoop. When Janome came out with the 11,000 back in 2005, it was revolutionary. It had an enormous hoop size of 8x8, okay, and that was a game changer for the whole market, the whole industry. Nobody had anything that big. Well, now we laugh at a hoop size 8x8. A new Baby Lock machine that just came out, its hoop size is 12 5/8 inches by 18 1/4 inches in hoop size. Okay, that's what it can do in a single swath. So you want to take into account what you're buying it for. Okay, if you're buying it for putting little logos on and or doing initials and monograms on towels and that kind of stuff, and all it has is a 4-inch by 4-inch hoop, you're going to be golden. If you're wanting to join that Kimberbell Club and start doing some of the projects there, 4x4 is going to be very limiting if you can do any of the projects at all. Laurie's shaking her head no. She does Kimberbell.
Yeah. For anything embroidery now, the minimum size you need is 5.5 or 5x7.
5x7.
5x7, but that's with a lot of times you're going to have to.
Very limited.
It is, and you're going to have to do a lot of multi-hooping. So you really do need 8 by 10. I think that's the next.
6 by 10.
6 by 10. 6 by 10.
6 by 10, 8 by 12.
8 by 12. There we go. We need an 8 by 12.
So, now, if I was buying a used machine, like I said, you still have to be careful. That $1,200 machine was an estate sale, but estate sales seem to be where the best deals can be had, because usually it's because someone has passed on. The kids don't sew. They have no idea how much stuff is actually worth or what it does, but you have to know what you're looking at when you go in there. So do some homework, do some research. If you're up on your machines, you can pick up some great deals out of estate sales. If you're not up on your research, and you want a used machine to try and save money, you can look at different sewing stores, because quite often they have used machines. Not as many as we used to in the old days, but there are still some. The advantage is you know that that machine has a working bobbin case, a working foot control, and that it's been fully serviced. And at least in our store, all used machines come with a 1-year warranty. If we can't put a 1-year warranty on it, it goes into recycling as a trade-in. It doesn't go back on the floor for sale. So, and I think most stores do a very similar policy with that. So at least then you have somebody standing behind it, they are going to be more expensive because all of those things are already taken into account and checked out for you and dealt with. Also, buy sergers on eBay Marketplace. Okay, and they are all different ball of wax. Okay, if you're buying a used serger, even if it's from a friend, number one thing to plan, you're gonna have to change your blades, upper and lower. Okay, if you don't end up having to change the blades, it's a bonus blessing. You can then save that money and go and get a Tim Hortons hot chocolate, or, well, that might be enough to justify a Starbucks hot chocolate, but they're more expensive. Watch for broken thread stands. Your spools on the back that hold your cone threads, okay? For your serger, it takes 4 of them. Okay, older models, some of them did a 3-thread. Some of the bigger ones do 5 or even 8-thread. But if that thread stand is broken, okay, unlike the spool pins on a new sewing machine being fairly cheap, sergers are fairly expensive, because you're not only dealing with the place that holds the spools, but the telescoping tower and then the wire that matches up for the threads to come up and travel to the machine. So those can get up to $150, $200 in some cases. Most are around $100 if you need to replace the thread stand. The number one reason sergers are sold secondhand, beyond somebody passing away and equipment being passed on, is because they're just frustrated with the machine and they don't know how to make it work very well. And so chances are they jammed up the machine, and that was the deciding factor on why they decided to sell it and get rid of it. In which case, there's a good chance that the timing has been knocked out, going back to, okay, I need to have planned to have this machine serviced. And that's good, but with a serger, when you knock out the timing, there's also a good likelihood that you've damaged one or both loopers. And now you're looking at $50 to $150 for each looper, depending on upper and lower, on top of the service, on top of the blades, on top of the cost of the machine. Okay. Then the other thing is, when you buy it used, you are on your own. Okay, so if you're wanting somebody to teach you how to use it, you're going to be paying them by the hour. Doesn't matter whether it's your store or it's a neighbor. Their time is worth something. Okay, and so there's going to be a cost. Your neighbor with doing a favor is the most expensive cost there is out there. Those favors have come back to bite me in the butt many times. They're very expensive. But you can't go into a store and expect somebody to pay to have a staff person sit down and teach you how to do something for a machine that you didn't even buy from them, right? So you wouldn't provide labor for somebody free of charge because they had bought something somewhere else or done something somewhere else. So don't expect others to do that for you as well. And that pretty much sums up the basic things you need to take into account if you're looking to save some money and pick up a used machine.
Thank you, Tom. That's very informative, because we have a lot of people that come in and bring in a machine that I bought this off a marketplace and I paid $20, and then when you go, well, it's missing this, and this, and it needs service and all this other kind of stuff, and then they end up with a $300 or $400 bill, and they're going, I
had one the other day. It was a marketplace machine. I don't know how much they paid for it, but I looked at it and quickly summed up was needed. I'm like, it's $240 repair bill. He's like, oh, it's just a marketplace machine. I'm like, that's the cost of the parts and stuff that's missing. Yeah. So that's what you need. So
as long as you're prepared for that, and if you're getting into it and you've got you're getting in a higher end machine and you're getting started, as long as you're aware of all the costs that will come with it, it can be a great idea while you get into it and get back into it.
The main thing is you're going into it with your eyes open, and you know what you're getting into, and you're not blindsided by additional costs that you weren't planning for. And unfortunately, it's usually people that are limited budget that are then blindsided by these costs, and they've already extended what they have to get this used machine, and then they're told, oh, they need another $20, $50, $200 worth of stuff just to make it work. And they're the people that least have it. Yeah.
I mean, we have starter machines, what,
$230, I think, is
$230,
our starter one starts.
And so if you're paying $20 for a starter machine off of Marketplace, and by the time you pay for all of that kind of stuff, you could get a brand new machine for what you would be.
Brand new machine with a full warranty and all free lessons.
Oh, that would have killed me if I would have sat there and spent $1,200 on an embroidery machine that I couldn't use.
He was not a happy camper.
That's not $20. Yeah. $1,500 or $1,200 is a lot. Okay, I'm gonna flip out, and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and remind you all to check out the website for classes, for anything coming up, and we will see you next week, and hopefully my buddy's back. See ya.